What's up, everybody? This video is going to focus on Funko vocabulary, basic terms related to Funko Pop collecting, and then also a couple of frequently asked questions. If you've already been collecting for a good while, then you're probably already familiar with this information, so this video is really geared towards new collectors, and I hope that this video will be helpful to new Funko Pop collectors. And let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off here with a frequently asked question. So it says here, why are Marvel and Star Wars Pops bobbleheads? Well, Funko has the rights to make Marvel and Star Wars collectibles, so they can't create any figures related to Marvel or Star Wars that could be considered action figures because, again, other companies have the rights to make the action figures. So that's how Funko makes sure that they set them apart from the action figures to make sure that they are bobbleheads, which bobbleheads tend to be considered collectibles. And in the case of the Star Wars characters, they also put them on bases as well. So again, that's what the difference is there. That's why that is done. Another frequently asked question, this is one that I get a lot, and people will say, why hasn't Funko made whatever Pops, why hasn't Funko made this and that, and is Funko going to make this or that? For one thing, I know a lot about Funko, but I definitely cannot predict the future. I don't know what they will make, down the line. There are rumors sometimes, and I do share those in my Funko News videos, but I really can't answer whether or not they will make Nintendo Pops in the future. I don't know. But the reason why they have not made certain Pops is because either they don't feel like they will be profitable. Now, in the case of Nintendo, we know that Nintendo would be profitable as long as the figures look good. They would do well. But there are some properties that might be a little bit too obscure. Funko might feel like the audience is not big enough. And then also sometimes they just cannot secure the license to make the figures. Funko cannot just make whatever they want to. They have to get the rights to do so. So if they have not made something, trust me, they do listen to fans. They really do listen to fans. They try to make all that they can. They were able to finally do some Pokemon Pops. Of course, they can't run wild with it, and that's not Funko's fault. That is because of, the deal that they have going with the Pokemon company. So again, Funko does as much as they can. If they're not making something, again, it's either because they don't think it would be profitable or they just cannot get the rights to do so. I'm going to go ahead and move into Funko Vocabulary, and with the vocabulary, this will actually answer a lot of the frequently asked questions that I get, because I realize most of the questions that I get, they do relate to a term that a new collector is not familiar with. So let's go ahead and get into this. So first of all, a common is not exclusive to any retailer. It can be found with any retailers that sell Funko Pops, including Hot Topic, Box Lunch, Target, Walmart, etc. So again, a common, is exactly what the name implies. It's pretty easy to find. An exclusive can only be found with the designated retailer or at a designated event. So sometimes it may be exclusive to Hot Topic or Walmart, or it may be exclusive to a Comic-Con, which I will touch on those later on. So again, exclusive, again, is basically with one company and maybe with one event. Now, a shared exclusive, this is an exclusive that is for a convention or an event, but is also shared with a retailer. And again, I will touch on that some more a little bit later on. Specialty series and PX Previews exclusive. A lot of people have asked about these recently. These are typically found at comic book shops, but other retailers, if they have certain accounts, they can order these figures as well. So you'll see them with some online retailers and even some major chains like FYE is a good example. Sometimes FYE actually has PX Previews exclusives. Moving along here, when you see PCS, that means pieces, and that relates to the amount of a figure that is available. So for example, if Funko says that something is 3,000 pieces, that means once those 3,000 pieces are sold, that's it. So it's just 3,000 of them that have been made and produced and are sold. Next up, flocked. A lot of people ask about what flocked means. It's just a fuzzy material that's used on a figure to simulate fur or hair. Very simple. So when you see that something is flocked, usually it's a character that's an animal, and then they'll just, they simulate the fur of that animal. But there are different types of Pops that have flocked on them, that flocked fur on them. Next up, GITD stands for glow in the dark. A lot of people just abbreviate that for shorthand. Vaulted, a vaulted figure is one that is no longer produced. Now you may still come across it in stores, especially local stores, but once something is vaulted, that just means that Funko is not making it anymore. But again, you might be able to find it in some stores, and you'll definitely find, people reselling them sometimes. Now, as far as a Grail is concerned, a Grail is a figure that someone personally finds highly desirable. Usually it's high value and it's tough to find. So again, a Grail is something that, you know, some people will say that a new pop that's about to come out is a Grail. I think that's really not a Grail. I think a Grail usually is something that's been out a while and is very tough for you to track down, or like I said, it may be high value. So again, that's my definition of a Grail. Some other people's definition might be slightly different. A flipper is someone who buys Funko Pops with the intention of immediately selling them for higher prices. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that sells a Funko Pop is a flipper. You know, sometimes people end up in tough situations and they have to sell off part of their collection. And, you know, if somebody's selling a pop for what it's really worth, that's understandable, you know, especially if it's something that is vaulted. But again, a flipper is somebody that buys it immediately, you know, a new pop, and they know that they're going to resell it for a higher price. Okay, so I'm not saying there's a negative or positive connotation to that. That's just my definition of it. These are the three major conventions that Funko always has shared exclusives with, and they include ECCC, which is Emerald City Comic Con. This is held in Seattle, Washington, which is close to the home of Funko, basically, so that's why this is a big convention for them, and this convention is held in the spring. Then there's SDCC, San Diego Comic Con, a convention that's held in the summer, and NYCC, New York Comic Con, which is held in the fall. So there are other conventions, of course, where Funko has exclusives, but these are the three big ones. Again, Emerald City Comic Con because that's close to home, and then San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con for obvious reasons. These are just major conventions, two of the major conventions in this country. So when you see a shared exclusive, it's going to have a different sticker on it from the figures that would be at the convention. If it's directly from the convention, you know, it will say that it's directly from the convention. It'll have the name of the convention on there. But when you buy a shared exclusive, if for example, if it's Emerald City Comic Con, it's going to say Spring Convention on there. With San Diego Comic Con, it would say Summer Convention, and then with New York Comic Con, it would say Fall Convention, or, you know, Fall Shared Release, whatever it may say there. Okay, so it would actually have the season on there as opposed to the actual event. And you know, some people may ask, does the sticker make a difference? Yes, it does. It actually does affect the value. Never been something that I really, you know, concern myself with, but it does affect the value, so that is something to consider as well. But again, these are the major conventions for Funko, so you definitely want to make sure you have some money saved around the time of these conventions, because they will release, you know, some major figures from some major properties. Moving right along here, next up, PPG means Pop Price Guide. Again, people will use PPG for short, and this is a website that allows you to keep track of your collection and also to create a wish list, you know, that you can share with other people, especially if you're into trading. Then yeah, you know, it's good to have a list. Basically, have a list together of things that you're interested in that you can share with people just to make trading easier. And by the way, this video is not focusing on trading tips. That's something that I've done previously, but I'm really not going to get into that right now. This is mainly just focusing on these terms here. Next up, the Funko app. This is something that is still somewhat recent. There used to be an app called Stashpedia. Funko basically bought that out and took it over, so now it is the Funko app. It's similar to Pop Price Guide. As a matter of fact, I think the values tend to match up with Pop Price Guide because I think they actually have a deal going with them as well. But it's yet another way for you to track your collection, create a wish list, and also you can see what pops are vaulted, and hopefully they'll get back to having it where people can share accounts with each other as well. So, you know, again, that would make trading a lot easier. Now, as far as figuring out the value of figures, of course, you can check Pop Price Guide, or you can check the Funko app, and then also you can check to see what pops are selling for on eBay. And don't look at what they're listed for, because that's not always accurate. Look at what they have actually sold for. Same thing goes with the Mercari app. That's just another app, you know, that people use to sell pops. So again, take a look and see what the pops are actually selling for, not just what they are listed for, because again, that's not always accurate. Finally here, I'm going to focus on release dates in the Funko shop. So first of all, as far as release dates go, Funko rarely has specific release dates. I get a lot of questions about when a certain figure is coming out. For one thing, whenever I know a release date, I'm going to share it in the video. You know, I will share it in the latest Funko News video. So if I know it, then you will know it from me. But for the most part, Funko doesn't tend to have specific release dates. You know, some things just kind of appear, you know, as a surprise, and then sometimes they may appear in certain areas of the country, but not all across the US. So you really have to be patient when it comes to Funko Pops. Like I said, there are rarely specific release dates. You just got to be patient and keep checking your local stores, and also check websites as well. Now, as far as the Funko Shop and Funko Pop-Up Shop are concerned, the first thing that I need to point out is that these are two separate websites. Now, Funko created the Funko Pop-Up Shop basically to cut down on the traffic to the Funko Shop, because that was an issue in the past. So when a Funko Shop exclusive first releases, they put it on the Funko Pop-Up Shop, and it will be the only item or the only items on the Funko Pop-Up Shop. Like if you were to go to check it right now, if there's not a new release on there, then there just would be nothing on that particular website. So again, when something first releases, it will be on the Funko Pop-Up Shop. This is just the Funko Shop exclusives. Now, if an item does not sell out, then it gets moved over to the Funko Shop, and it will stay there until it eventually sells out. Once an item sells out on the Funko Shop or the Funko Pop-Up Shop, if it sells out right away, then that's it. It doesn't get a restock. Okay, so if you're interested in anything that gets listed on the Funko Shop or the Funko Pop-Up Shop, you need to get it right away. Don't procrastinate, because like I said, once it sells out, that's it. Now, you can follow Funko on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you know, just across social media to keep up with the releases, at least some of the releases. Sometimes they will give you a heads up, just maybe sometimes just a couple hours. They'll give you a heads up about what's going to be available, but they do surprise people sometimes and just have a sudden release. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Again, the main focus here was the terms that some new collectors may not be familiar with. So I really hope that if you are a new collector, that you found this to be helpful. If you think this will help out other collectors, please make sure that you share the video. If you did find it helpful, also please make sure that you drop a like on it. Very simple way, you know, to help out this video, and then just, you know, to support the channel in general. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing as well. I definitely would appreciate the support. You know, I will continue in the future to try to do my best to help out new collectors. There will be some questions that I simply cannot answer. Like I said, you know, a lot of people will ask me, is Funko going to do this or that? And I just cannot predict the future, you know, so I do my best with the information, and I will continue to do so. And I hope that you all appreciate that. Again, thank you for taking the time to check out this video, and I will talk to you all again real soon.